What the hell is live shopping? Have you guys seen this? Like, Facebook is always coming out with new features, and now they've got like live shopping. What the fuck is live shopping? I don't have any money, y'all. I'm not gonna do any live shopping. Okay, I'm gonna drop a link. So I was just on Twitter, and this is trending on Twitter or some such bullshit. So I was just reading through this. This is so LA. It's so like you guys up in LA. It's so fucking like you guys up in LA. So there's this like super, it's kind of cute. I'll give you that. It's a little bit cute, but it is a very pretentious sort of LA story. It's very, it's a story about this person who stood up her first date, but she ended up marrying him kind of thing. But it was like, it's very LA. It's very, oh, I lived in this super cool location and I went to the wrong restaurant because apparently there was two of these restaurants. All right, so I'll give you an actual stand-up story. I'll give you an actual um where I did not end up marrying this dude, but so I grew up in Mission Viejo, and the funny thing is about this story. Okay, so the story that she tells me, this is L.A. Times, y'all. L.A. Times, freaking. You can see I just dropped the link. L.A. Times fucking wrote up this story, and it's just kind of like, really, really, that was worthy of your print pages. Okay, so I grew up in Mission Viejo, and a couple of my best friends lived a couple blocks away, and they were on the very end of the cul-de-sac. There was a dude who was a little bit older than us. We were in junior high. He was in high school, right? And he was, they were a British family that moved to the States. My friend had a huge crush on him when we were teenagers. And I think he actually ended up dating her cousin when we were in high. Yeah, they were going out or something. They had some sort of relationship. Fast forward to God, like 2005. So that would have been the late 80s. That would have been the fucking late 80s. Fast forward to 2005. And my friend was had reconnected with him and was basically, she was already married at this point. So she was trying to hook him up with me. She was trying to hook him up with me. And we went to um, that like adult play place in the Irvine Spectrum where they have like all the video games and stuff. I can't even remember the name of this place. We used to do so many things there where they had like company events and shit, and they had like, what the hell was the name of that restaurant? We went up there and played pool, and she was definitely trying to hook us up. And I gave him my phone number, and he called, like, he started texting me, like, within 10 minutes of me leaving the restaurant. Like, 10 minutes of leaving the restaurant. Started texting me and trying to, set up, like, a date. And that's cool, whatever. Like, I was single. I was single at the time. So we were gonna go to Tribuco Steakhouse, where they cut off your tie, they cut off the ties and they hang them on the ceiling and shit. It's a cool restaurant. If anybody who's in South OC, if you want to, like, you want some good steak, check out Tribuco Steakhouse. It's a really neat location, and but it's nowhere where anybody would go except for locals because it's like so fucking off the beaten path. Um, so we were gonna go there for dinner, but in the time, okay, so he literally started like texting me like 10 minutes after I was playing pool. Starts texting me. Then he was a single dad, and I was a single mom, right? And he immediately starts like, he started calling me all the time. Like we hadn't even gone on the first date yet. He starts calling me all the time. And planning out like our life adventures for the future. Like he starts talking about like we're gonna go camping with our kids. We're gonna do all these things. He was like planning out our life adventures. And I hadn't even gone on the first date. I hadn't even gone on the first date yet. I couldn't. So when we talk about like standing somebody up for their first date, like this person, okay, so this LA Times article is literally somebody who just like fucked up because there was two restaurants with the same name in relatively close locations. She ends up marrying the dude, right? Like they figure it out and they get married. In my stand-up situation, which this is I think the only time I've ever stood somebody up for a date. This is the only time I stood somebody up for a date. But the reason I stood this person up was because he was acting like he was already gonna like propose marriage to me, and I hadn't even gone on like the first fucking date. Like I was kind of looking forward to that. Like we were gonna go have a really good steak at Tribeca Steakhouse. And dude kept oh my god, he kept calling me up, planning out our life adventures and shit. And the night of the date, I was actually chatting with the person who ultimately became my boyfriend, which was a terrible mistake. That was a mistake too. That was a total mistake. I was in a relationship with that dude for like 7 years. 7 years. But at the time, like he was really trying to, I was chatting with him. He was a friend of mine on the Star Wars message boards. And he was like really trying to convince me not to go on that date. I ended up totally just like canceling. I totally canceled, but it was a little scary to me. It was a little hair raising. You know, when you are a single parent, um, your responsibility is to your children first. And if somebody's acting super weird, they get shut out so fast. You're just like, oh, hell no. Oh, no, 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 no. I'm not doing this. No way. Like, if you're going to be, like, super weird, I'm out. Oh, my God, this article from LA Times. I was reading it, and I was like, oh, you lived in a studio in Hollywood. Oh, you lived in the Hollywood Hills on the other side. You had a great view and shit. Oh my God, that's fucking expensive. Like this is such privilege I'm reading right now. Oh, that's nice. So you were hanging out with a bunch of British dudes while you're waiting for your date. Oh my God, even. They ended up married. I mean, it's a little bit cute, but at the same time, it's so fucking pretentious. It's so pretentious. It's really just like, okay, well, I'm glad that it ended in a happy ending. Um, I guess I have more of like a, I have more of like a shield, I guess, or walls. I have more walls around me where I'm just like, oh fuck, this like if I've literally only ever stood up one dude for a date, and that's why he was just acting super weird. He was acting super weird, and the funny thing is, like, he was literally a neighborhood kid, but it was like almost 20 years later. It was almost 20 years later. No, not quite. Maybe like 15, almost 20. Yeah, it was somewhere almost 20 years later. And at the time it was like fascinating to me because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go on this date with like the guy that was like the cool kid on the block who used to work on his cars and shit. And he had a British accent. And then he turned out to be like so weird. He turned out to be so weird. I was like, oh, hell no, I'm not doing this. So I ended up in a terrible relationship instead. Although I can't say that it would have been any better I can't say that it would have been any better had I ended up actually going on that date. It might not have been any better. I really don't know. I don't know the answer to that. It was so funny. But this article, which I dropped in the comments, totally reminded me of that. Oh my God, you LA people with your, oh, I lived in the hills. I had this great view of Universal Studios. Okay. I know how fucking expensive it is to live in LA. I know how expensive it is. Um, God damn. LA Times, for fuck's sake. That was such a, it was like, that's like a story that you tell on your social media. That's a story you tell to your friends. That's not something you actually fucking publish in the LA Times. Give me a goddamn break.